I genuinely really appreciate these comments because it shows that people are concerned about the well-being of our animals. These are questions that everybody that consumes meat should be asking. What was the quality of life like? Were their last moments as peaceful as possible? These are important questions that need to be asked more frequently. The specific concerns of this commenter were that the birds are getting put in a cage together and then they're getting lifted out by their ankles and then put into the cone. This is by far the most ethical way to do that. Now, the only part that I'll concede is that I could have left them individually in the coop and went and got them one by one to bring them to the location. I don't think they minded being in the crate. It was for less than 10 minutes. They had room to move around, but that's just an opinion. As far as lifting birds by their ankles, this is the way that people with pet chickens trim their wings. It's a very common way of handling birds. It calms them, they get still, and that allows you to place them into the cone efficiently without them struggling. Now, the cone is meant to restrain them. That gives you the opportunity to make the most concise cut possible. Without that cone, they're going to be moving around, and it's very, very likely that you're going to injure that bird rather than ending their life instantaneously. There are lots of different methods for dispatching a chicken, and this is the way that works for us, and we've chosen it because there is zero room for error. You remove the head and the chicken is dead. Some people say, well, why don't you shoot them? Wildly unethical. Unless you absolutely have to, chicken head is a tiny moving target that is almost impossible to hit no matter how good of a shot you are, and it's very likely you're going to injure that bird and prolong suffering. People will say, oh, why don't you knock them out first? Again, there's tons of room for error. You can injure that bird and again cause suffering. This is the way that minimizes suffering. With this method, the chickens remain calm, there's zero room for error, and it's done quickly and efficiently, which is the most important thing. Again, comments like this, I love. It shows that people are asking the right sorts of questions and thinking about the right sorts of things. I even don't mind vegan comments because they have some really strong convictions and some really compelling arguments that are worth listening to. What I don't have time for is people who consume meat and then provide uneducated or naive comments. It's this idea that it's so terrible that I just can't think about it, and that's somehow better than people who see what's going on in factory farming and are willing to think about it and willing to take that action. If you're somehow willing to take your meat production into your own hands, that makes you less compassionate. Now, this idea comes from these people who know deep down that factory farming is bad and it's bad for the animals and it's a low quality of life. I'm unwilling to think about it. And that's morally superior to those of us who are willing to take things into our own hands to prevent that suffering. Just because you're unwilling to acknowledge fully where that meat comes from does not make you any less complicit in how those animals are treated. So anyways, to wrap up, I appreciate comments like this. I appreciate comments from vegans, and I don't want to hear any comments from people who consume meat and are unwilling to think about where it comes from.